Hello and welcome to Spectrum News. I am Rachel David White, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu launches conditional cash transfer for 15 million households. Senate in uproar as Ndume storms out of chamber. Plus, President Putin demands ceasefire. Cardinal offers sale for hostages. We'll bring you details of the stories and many more in a moment. First, in the news this afternoon is Nigeria's leader President Bola Tinubu, who has launched the renewed Hope Conditional Cash Transfer for 15 million households. The event, which coincided with the World Poverty Eradication Day, was held at the Press Gallery of the State House in Abuja. The president, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, said the 15 million households represents 62 million Nigerians. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Eradication, Betaidu, Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, World Bank Country Director, Shubham Chowdhury, and the United Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator of Nigeria, Matthias Skimel, among other dignitaries, were present at the event. Recall that the president had in his maiden Independence Day broadcast to Nigerians on October 1st, 2023, announced a cash transfer program which he said would target vulnerable citizens. Away from that, the Federal Executive Council has approved the establishment of the Presidential Council on Industrial Revitalization Roadmap, which will be chaired by President Bola Tinubu and comprise 10 subcommittees. This was disclosed by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment, Doris Uzoka-Anite. Uzoka-Anite spoke at the end of a FEC meeting, explaining that the subcommittees will deliberate on various policies within different ministries and the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. According to the minister, the ministry have a plethora of policies from these agencies. Meanwhile, the Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, the Federal Executive Council, says the Federal Executive Council has okayed the federal government to access $1.5 billion World Bank's budget support loan. Edun said a facility which would be provided by the International Development Association, IDA, financing arm of the World Bank, is a low-interest instrument, and it is meant for the revival of the nation's economy. According to him, FEC also approved $80 million in financing from the African Development Bank, AFDB, for the Equity Knowledge Zone Project, EKZ, and 30 days for the implementation of the government-organized labor's agreement on petrol subsidy removal palliatives. He explained that the AFDB $80 million facility for the EKZ project is aimed at helping young people have better insights into a knowledge-based economy, technology, and communications.
The President is aware, and that is why he has the intervention package, 500 billion naira, as well as other measures, including a wage award and later on a new wage structure for the country. So I think that answers all the questions about the 1.5 billion, why and how soon, and use of proceeds. It goes straight into the balance of payments, goes straight into the reserves to support the effort to improve the country's fiscal situation, to improve government finances. Things are tough. Mr. President is aware, and that is why he has the
In the meantime, the Federal Executive Council (FEC) has proposed 26.01 trillion naira for the 2024 fiscal year for submission to the National Assembly. This is according to the Minister of Budget and Planning, Atiku Bagudu, who spoke after a council meeting presided over by President Bola Tinubu. According to him, FEC pegged the price of crude oil at $73.96, exchange rate of $700, and oil production of 1.78 million barrels per day. During the briefing at the council chamber, Bagudu said the government is working to ensure a January-December budget cycle. He said the executive will put effort in place to ensure that 2024 budget is passed and signed before December 2024. Bagudu also noted that FEC approved the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework (MTF) and fiscal strategy papers (FSP).
2024, we are assuming 73.96, oil production of 1.78 million barrels a day, exchange rate of 700, then the inflation of 21% and GDP growth rate of 3.76%. The aggregate expenditure is estimated at 26.01 trillion naira for the 2024. A supplementary budget because, of course, there are continuing obligations and there are responses to security which can be immediate. So Mr. President is mindful of those and is assessing them. But Mr. President is also committed to the budget process and its integrity.
In a separate development, the federal government has announced its readiness to commence the payment of 9 months backlogs of Empower beneficiaries who are on the program beginning from November. The Empower National Program Manager, Akinjale Egbola, disclosed this during a meeting with some Empower beneficiaries in his office in Abuja. Egbola, in a statement issued by the federal government, Federal Ministry and Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, stated that the main purpose for the temporary suspension of the program was to address all matters directly affecting beneficiaries. He said the Empower program would be continued as a renewed hope job creation program under the supervision of the Humanitarian Minister. A 30-day ultimatum to the United Nations, UN, and other international agencies in Nigeria, within which they should give a detailed account of how funds from donor agencies have been spent over the years. The federal government threatened that should the UN and the international agencies refuse to give an account of the expenditure, a court order will compel them to do so. The Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy Ohaneye, issued the threat during a press conference, noting that the 30-day ultimatum starting from October 16 to November 15 had been given to the organizations, failure to which the ministry would proceed to court. She also raised concern over the misuse of $100 million that was earmarked for the World Bank-sponsored project meant to encourage women in business, empower them, particularly in the field of agriculture, and give little capital as well to teach them on how to save. In the meantime, federal government has said that power consumers paid a total of 267.86 billion naira as electricity bills in the second quarter of this year. It disclosed that in the just released second quarter 2023 report of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. While explaining the collection efficiency of power distribution companies during the period under review, it said the total revenue collected by all discos in 2023 quarter 2 was 267.86 billion naira out of 354.61 billion naira billed to consumers. This translates to a collection efficiency of 75.54%, which represents an increase of 6.79 pp basic points when compared to 2023 quarter 1, 68.75%. And from the red chambers now, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio today requested an urgent closed-door meeting of the Senate during plenary after the Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume, left the chamber following a ruling that deemed him out of order. Ndume, APC Borno South, raised the point of order on alleged errors committed and not corrected by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. The error referred to by Ndume was a motion moved by Senator Somaila Kawu, NNPP, Kano South, for debate on the need for reopening of Nigerian Niger border without stating the title of his motion. Ndume, who rose through Order 51 of the Senate Standing Rules, requested the Senate President to allow for a correction of any errors met or observed in the plenary. Meanwhile, Senate President Godswill Akpabio has distanced himself from the sack of Adamawa North Senator Elisha Abo by the Court of Appeal. Akpabio said, contrary to Abo's claim, he has no reason to witch hunt the sacked lawmaker. He disclosed this while speaking through his media aide, Eseme Eyibo. Recall that Abo had accused Akpabio of being responsible for his removal, saying that 4 other senators who worked against the emergence of Akpabio as Senate President had been penciled down to be sacked. Reacting, Akpabio accused Abo of looking for a pasty. In another development, Governor Inoua Yahaya of Gombe State has requested for more personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC to tackle farmers and herders clashes in the state. This is contained in a statement by NSCDC Public Relations Officer PRO CSC Babawale Afolabi today in Abuja. According to the statement, the hire met the request during a courtesy visit to the NSCDC Commandant General CG Ahmed Aoudi. The governor, addressing senior officers of the Corps, said the deployment of more personnel, specifically men of the Agro Rangers Unit, will aid in the control of farmers and herders clashes, school security and protection of lives and properties. Back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoina, in line with his promise to continue to pay down the arrears of retired workers, has approved the prompt release of an additional 1.6 billion naira. The amount is designed to continue to pay down the arrears of gratuities of retired primary school teachers, local government workers and civil servants in the state. In a release statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ekerete Odo, Pastor Oino is determined to keep to the promise he made to the state organized labor during their one-day national protest march to regularly set aside funds to continue the payment of gratuities. According to Ekerete, the governor had previously released 3 billion naira for the same purpose, bringing the total amount so far released for the purpose to 4.6 billion naira. And now to Africa, where South Sudan's President Salva Kiir says he will host representatives of Sudanese political leaders in the capital, Juba, in a bid to end the brutal 6-month conflict. A statement from Kiir's press unit says the meeting will take place next week. According to the statement, the Sudan's leader will review the Juba peace agreement signed in 2020 between the then transitional government and rebel factions, while seeking a way to resolve the current crisis. Recall that Kiir appealed to the military and political leaders in Sudan to end the ongoing conflict through peaceful dialogue. And still in Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo's Transport Minister Mark Ekila has said that 47 bodies have been recovered from the Congo River as search and rescue efforts continue. Following the boat disaster, Ekila said the boat accident was caused by overloading and sailing at night, which are prohibited by regulations. He said an investigation was underway and those responsible for the capsizing would be held to account. On a foreign scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin said the civilian death toll in Gaza could see a catastrophic increase and warned of the risk of a regional war after talking to Iranian and Arab leaders. The Kremlin said Putin had spoken to his Syrian, Egyptian, and Iranian counterparts, as well as Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas. Kremlin Foreign Policy aide Yuri Ushakov said Putin would also speak to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The Kremlin statement stressed all that the leaders called for an immediate ceasefire and the establishment of a humanitarian truce to provide urgent assistance to those in need. Still on the foreign scene, India's top court today refused to legalize same-sex marriages, but said the country had a duty to acknowledge LGBTQ relationships and to protect them from discrimination. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has opposed move to legally codify same-sex partnerships in 5 years since the Supreme Court struck down colonial-era laws banning gay sex. Lawyers for several same-sex couples urged the court earlier this year to grant their relationships full legal recognition, but the 5-member bench ruled that extending marriage's equality was a parliamentary decision. The court's ruling held that the fundamental right of marriages for same-sex couples was not guaranteed by India's constitution under existing law. It did grant marriage rights to couples where one or both members were transgender, provided one participant in the union identified as a man and the other as a woman. Chandrachud added that India still had a duty to acknowledge same-sex relationships and protect those in them from discrimination. Still to come in the news, Ballon d'Or 2023 organizers contact Messi as winner of award is leaked. To stay with us. Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. Over now to our business news. On our business news, the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) has revealed that Nigeria witnessed a decline in total capital importation, dropping to $1.03 billion from $1.5 billion in Q2 2022, marking a 32.90% decrease. The NBS report also revealed a 9.04% decrease from the $1.13 billion recorded in Q1. According to the Bureau, investment ranked top, accounting for 81.28% of the total capital importation in Q2 2023, followed by portfolio investment with 10.37% and foreign direct investment with 8.35%. Still in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has granted approval for Parallax Bank to collect Nigeria Export Supervision Scheme's NES fees. The approval was given in a circular signed by Dr. W.J. Kenya on behalf of the Director of the Trade and Exchange Department of the Apex Bank. Dr. Kenya noted that the approval was granted under the auspices of the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Wale Edun, and called upon all authorized dealers and service providers to take note of the significant development
NES fee is reportedly a mandatory payment to the federal government for all legitimate goods exported from Nigeria, encompassing both non-oil and oil-based products. On a health news, the president, Nigeria Optometric Association, Dr. Chimeziri Anderson, says routine blood pressure and fasting blood sugar tests play critical roles in ensuring comprehensive eye health care. The community eye health epidemiologist said it was necessary to ensure that those tests were integrated into primary care services covered by the Health Maintenance Organization. This, he said, would make them accessible and affordable. He therefore advised Nigerians to go for regular eye checkups, practice eye safety, live healthy lifestyles, and spread awareness of the importance of eye health. Still in health, a consultant psychiatrist, Dr. Oluwafumilayo Akinola, has expressed concern over the rising prevalence of mental illness among young Nigerians across the country. She noted that most mental disorders are insidious, stressing that they start from adolescence at around the age of 15. While speaking at an event organized by the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, FNPH Yaba, Lagos State, the psychiatrist lamented that 1 in every 8 persons globally lives with mental disorders. To sport now, where Inter Miami forward Lionel Messi is expected to win his 8th Ballon d'Or later this month. According to the UAE Mirror, the winners for both the male and female awards for 2023 have been leaked. Messi led Argentina to World Cup glory in Qatar last year after missing out on the 2022 award to Karim Benzema. The organizers have informed Messi of his victory ahead of the ceremony taking place in Paris on Monday, October 30th. Still in sport, Darren England and Daniel Cook are to return to Premier League duty for the first time since their era during Liverpool's defeat at Tottenham. England and Cook were the VAR and assistant VAR when Luis Diaz's goal for Liverpool was incorrectly ruled out for offside in their 2-1 loss last month. The pair were stood down for the 2 later matches and excluded from the following round of fixtures. And England will be the 4th official as Brentford host Burnley on Saturday. Meanwhile, Cook has been named as an assistant referee for Sheffield United's home game with Manchester United also on Saturday. On our entertainment news, the no-case submission application filed by Peter Nwachukwu, husband of late singer Osinachi, has been dismissed by a Federal Capital Territory FCT High Court sitting in Wuse Zone 2. Nwachukwu had filed the application to challenge the homicide and domestic violence suit instituted against him by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation on June 3, 2022. Justice Njideka Nwosuiheme ruled that Nwachukwu has a case to answer. The judge ordered Nwachukwu to open defense in the matter. It would be recalled that on April 8, 2022, Osinachi took her last breath and her death was linked to maltreatment and domestic violence by her husband. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rachel David Wise. Good evening.